So today we want to talk about equipment and getting started in beekeeping. There's a lot of people that have a little interest, and first thing you want, or one of the things you need to know, is what is this going to cost me? There's equipment that you need to buy or build, and there's some protective equipment that you're going to need to use. So we put together a little list here. One of the first things is, how many hives do you want? We decided we wanted several because we have 2 locations, so we decided on 6, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. If you're going to start beekeeping, everybody recommends having at least 2 colonies, 2 hives of bees. If you have a problem in one box, sometimes you can steal resources from another box to help your bees get through short term, help them out. Let's just say after the winter, going into springtime, the nectar flow hasn't really started, the flowers aren't blooming, they're not making pollen, you got another month to go, and the bees are flying a little bit, but they're just not getting anything. You look in there and one of them has depleted all their resources, and the other one's got an extra whole frame that they're not using of honey. Still a frame, put it in that other hive, get them through. So that's an example of that. Also, bees can make their own queens. If your queen dies for some reason, they can take fresh eggs, up to 3 days old, I think, and they can make a new queen. So bees usually know within 4 or 5 hours that there's no queen left, and they'll go and make a new queen. They do a supersedure cell.
That's if they have eggs.
If they have eggs. If something happens and the queen quits laying and she hasn't laid for a week and then she dies, they have no way to make a queen. Whereas if you have an extra colony, you go in, you can take a frame that has fresh eggs in it, move it over to that one, they'll make their own queen for themselves. So there's a lot of reasons to have 2 colonies. You can kind of steal from one to help the other one get through, and people do that quite a bit. So if you want to get started, we recommend you get 2 colonies of bees. The way that we decided to do ours is with swarm traps, catching bees. We purposely put our swarm traps away from beekeepers. We put them in wooded areas, places that we did not think, we tried not to put them where there was a beekeeper very close. One we kind of did, but those people had natural bees living in a camper, so we were hoping to catch a swarm off of that.
Because that's our goal, is to catch wild bees, not to catch another beekeeper's bees that have swarmed out of their apiary.
Yeah. So a lot of guys that go out and catch swarms, they'll tell you they're catching 50 to 60% success rate with the swarm traps, but a lot of times they're catching their own bees coming out of their own apiaries. So I think realistically you're probably closer to 30%. So if you need 2 colonies of bees, I would go at least 6 swarm traps to try to get started with bees. Now you can't go buy bees. Bees are expensive, and just because you buy them don't mean they're going to live. So I think swarm traps are the way to go. That's the way Dr. Leo in his books, they really suggest you go out and catch feral colonies of bees. And once you have your swarm traps, it costs you $1 or so to put a little lemongrass oil in them and put them out the next year. So once you have them, you can keep using them. So I think that's a good investment. So getting out there, you're going to need some personal equipment. You can buy used stuff a lot of times. Shirley was pretty small, I'm pretty big. We couldn't find 2X jackets and a small jacket. So we looked around and we finally ended up buying new equipment, and that's probably somewhere around $150 a person. We spent a little over $350 or something, close to that. So getting started, swarm traps, $110 a piece from Dr. Leo. The Hive Boxes are where we decide about
$4.99, $500.
$500. Then you need a stand, so you're gonna have close to $2,000 in getting started if you go buy new equipment out there.
And that includes your personal protective
That's your
equipment,
personal equipment and
your
stuff.
PPE.
So there's a lot of ways to do this. We decided to build our equipment because we wanted so much more.
Yeah. So we did a little bit of research this morning to see how much it would have cost to purchase all the equipment that we ended up building ourselves. And we went to horizontalhive.com, and all these prices are based off of their website. And that's because we used the plans that Dr. Leo has available on horizontalhive.com to build all of our equipment. We build our swarm traps, our frames, our hives, our stands, everything from the plans that they have available for free. They also sell equipment that they make. So, excuse me, the lay-ins, swarm traps, they have two different versions. A light version that has 6 frames in it. Those are $109 a piece. We built 10 of those, so that would have cost us almost $1,100 if we had bought those. They also have a heavy-duty lay-in swarm trap that has 7 frames in it, and those sell for $199 a piece. So we actually built 5 of those, so that would have been another $1,000. Now the hive boxes themselves, they sell a solid wooden hive box that holds 19 frames. It includes the frames, and those are $499 a piece. They're $500. We actually built 6 of the hive boxes, so we would have had about $3,000 in the hive boxes themselves. The stands that you need to put your hives on, Dr. Leo has the plans for how to build a stand on his website, but we didn't ever find this morning where they sell the stands, and so I'm not sure if they sell them or not, but we built our stands from their web design, and we figured we probably had about $25 a piece in those. And again, there's 6 of those, and so that's another $150 or so. When you put your swarm traps out, you need to bait them with something. You have something in the box so that it doesn't just smell like fresh wood. That's not going to attract the bees. You want it to smell like home to the bees when they're out looking for a place to move into. And what people use who are experienced beekeepers that have old equipment, they'll use old frames that have brood comb in it and put that in the swarm trap, and that way the box smells like bees because bees used to be in that comb. Yeah. Well, we're new, so we didn't have any old comb that we could use, so we had to use other methods. People suggested using Propolis to kind of rub that around the inside of the box, and so we bought some of that from Dr. Leo. That was $5 a bag. We bought 3 bags of that, and they're little pieces of the bee glue, that's what it's called, and we kind of smeared that around the inside of the boxes. And then you can also use lemongrass essential oil. Apparently that smells like the queen pheromone, and so Dr. Leo has on his website some little slow release tubes that you can put a little bit of lemongrass oil, essential oil in, and it will slowly release over time, because your boxes are going to hang out there outside for a few months, so you want that smell to kind of linger. So we had those expenses as well. So all of that added together is about $5,400. Now our personal protective equipment, since there's 2 of us, we had to buy 2 of everything. So a jacket that had a veil, gloves, a smoker, hive tools, bee brush, all of that is about $150 a person. So we spent about $350 on that. So all that added together is like $5,800. That does not include any bees. So we're catching bees, and it doesn't include the electric enclosure that we put around our bee yard up on the mountain. Now our house in the mountains is really close to a bear sanctuary, so we need to protect our colonies of bees up there from the bears. So we built an electric enclosure, and we figure that was probably another $1,000 that we spent just on the materials and doing it ourselves. So we're looking at about $6,500, maybe $7,000 if we had to go out and buy all of our woodenware to get started with
So-
6 colonies of bees, which is what we've ended up with, 6 colonies of bees.
And you can see real quick while we spent the time and the effort to go out and build our equipment.
Yeah.
Now, nice thing about swarm traps, those swarm traps will last for years and years and years. The only thing we'll have to do is rebait them when we get ready to put them up next year.
Mhm.
And
So they'll be reused
Yeah.
over and over again. Yeah.
and just because you have bees this year don't mean you'll have any next year. A lot of people with the Langstroth stuff, you know, they'll have 6 colonies and they're lucky if they get 1 or 2 that make it through the winter time. It's a lot harder to keep bees than it used to be. That's why we're doing the natural stuff. And if our bees make it, they make it. If they don't, we'll try to catch some more. But the investment for the swarm boxes is there, and they should last us. We should never have to buy any more, build any more
yeah.
for the 2 of us. 15 is plenty of swarm boxes. We may build a couple more hive boxes. I don't know. If we do, we're not really planning on us having more colonies. We may, you know, I might would have 1 more, but I've got a couple of friends that want to help out, so I'll probably build a couple more and sell them to them for the cost of materials and stuff. But if you decide you want to get in, it's not cheap. But if you build your own equipment, it can save you a lot of money. So that's why we're making videos on how we're doing this and how we built equipment.
So that's it. We'll see you again next time when we'll be talking about something else. Like and subscribe.